You want to find that drive and focus that has you locked in and on fire every single day? My book, The Mirror Motivation, will do it for you. I bought a copy for you. You take care of the shipping. The book is free. Click the link down there. I got you.
Stay all day.
Gets no better than this, but tune in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up. The confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you're expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, the go-getter energy that moves you to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Putting all this together, you get the mindset, the method, the podcast known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Welcome to the show. Today's topic is invest in communication skills. This is the advice that I'm giving you, is to invest in your communication skills. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. So when I think about things that I've done that really made a difference for me in life, like getting on to a college basketball team when I was not recruited, had barely played in high school and was walking on in college, finding an agent to represent me to get a chance to play basketball overseas, being able to talk to females who I was interested in, getting booked to give a TED speech that people ask me about, selling a keynote speech, or selling myself in any way, shape, or form in the business world, selling products and services. All of the above happen via the ability to communicate through the spoken and written word. And these are things that may be working for you too. If you're trying to land a job and you had to go to a job interview, you're probably going to have to talk to somebody in order to get hired for that job, or you're at least going to have to write a resume or write a cover letter, or somehow, some way communicate through your words, written word, spoken word, to someone who gets to make the decision whether to hire you or not. You could be in a situation where things are not working out in your favor and you need to kind of talk your way out of that situation, or maybe just explain to someone how it may not be as bad as it looks, and just try to keep people at bay. You may be in that type of situation. You're going to need communication skills to talk your way out of a corner that you may be in. If you're going on a date, you're probably going to need some strong communication skills to keep that person interested and stimulated, even if there's a physical attraction. If you can't communicate, then that's probably not going to last too long, that situation. If you're trying to get yourself into a situation where you're coming in cold, for example, walking onto a basketball team where nobody knows you, getting hired at a job where you were not referred to anyone, trying to sell a product or a service to someone who never heard of you before today, trying to get chosen for a certain position when there are a whole lot of other people trying to get chosen for that same position and everybody can't make it. That's going in cold. Nobody really knows you. You don't have an in, so to speak, but you got to try to get your way in there through your words. All of these will be aided by strong communication skills. So I'm talking via the spoken word and or the written word. These are skills that you need to be investing in. In other words, getting better in your skill of communication. Because if you can communicate what you can do, if you can communicate who you are, and you can communicate smoothly and clearly to the audience that you're talking to, because different styles of communication are necessary based on who you're talking to, right? We talked about this in the episode on speaking, learn to speak different languages within the language, learn to speak different dialects within each language. As you get stronger in your communication skills and you learn how to tailor your communication to your audience, I guarantee it will create a whole lot more opportunities for you. It will create opportunities for you that you may have never even gotten. It'll strengthen opportunities that you already have. And it maybe will get you out of situations, opportunities that you don't even want when you have strong communication skills. So that's today's topic. Let's get into why this matters and what you need to be doing about it. Again, the topic, invest in your communication skills. Point number one, I heard a guy once, I was listening to this podcast and I heard this guy being interviewed on the podcast. He was the guest on the show. And some of the things that he was saying started to catch my attention. I really liked his style. The guy, the guest on the show, he was funny, he was engaging, he was informative. He shared some things that were useful to me, good ideas that I hadn't thought of before. He mentioned that he had a book that was related to whatever it was he was talking about. And because this guy was funny, engaging, and informative, and I liked his style, I went and bought the guy's book. Now this book, I bought the book, then I read it. The book was not amazing. I mean, it wasn't a bad book, but it wasn't an amazing book. It was good. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't unbelievable. It was somewhere in between. It was a good book. I'm not mad that I got the book. I got some value out of it. It wasn't as great as he sold it to be, but I don't have a problem with that. But I thought about, you know what I thought about after I got that book? I thought about how it was that this guy even got me to buy his book. What was it that he did that moved me to purchase the book in the first place? And this is what I found out as I thought deeper about this situation and how this guy got me to buy it. It wasn't all that. It was okay. This guy was a copywriter. And if you don't know what a copywriter is, I'm not talking about copyright like a trademark or a patent that you file to the government. I'm talking copywriting is in writing with your fingers, writing with your hands. Copywriter is a person who makes their living based on utilizing words to move people to action, specifically for business. If any of you are not aware, if you go to any website where products are being sold, let's say, for example, Amazon or Walmart's website or Whole Foods website or anywhere that you buy things online, the words that you see on that website is known as copy. Copy is not the same as the words that you see, for example, in a book. You bought the book and then the person's saying what they're saying. Those are different types of words. The words on a website, words on anywhere where something's being sold is called copy because its sole purpose is to persuade you into making a buying decision. It's to persuade you into making a purchase or making a decision to get the hell off the website, one or the other. That's the reason why copy exists. And if you didn't know, there are people who make their full-time living doing this. Just writing words, putting words together in a specific way in order to move people to buying decisions. Copywriting is not just about writing either. It also can be speaking. So you can have copy. It wouldn't be called copywriting, but it's still called copy for the words that somebody speaks. So for example, if you go on someone's website and they're selling something and there's a video on the page, in addition to the text on the page, there's an actual video and somebody's talking, whether it's a cartoon talking or you just hear a voice and there's something on the screen or there's a person talking directly to you, that those words that are being spoken is also known as copy. So that would be called video copy or sales copy. It can be spoken out loud or it can be written down. But this guy who had sold me this book through his appearance on his podcast, he was a professional copywriter. And if you ever bought something online, like I said, somebody wrote some compelling copy that moves you to make that action. It can be written or spoken. And the reason why it matters that this author of this good but not great book was a copywriter was that this guy's main skill, his main profession, his main paid occupation is putting words together to move people to buying decisions. So that's a pretty good job to have if you're going to be selling things online, is to be a professional copywriter. Be really good at putting words together and move people to action. I'm telling you all of that to explain to you, this guy made this $20 sale to me, not because I knew who he was. I had never heard of him before. Not because his book had spread by word of mouth. It had not. I had never heard of his book before. Not because the book was just so amazing that I needed to read it. It was not. It was good. It wasn't amazing. The reason why that book sold is because this guy knew how to put the right words in the right way in order to get me to purchase. I don't know how many other people purchased when they heard that interview, but I know that I did. Because of this guy's solid communication skills that I know he has, because I found out that he's a copywriter. He's a professional copywriter by trade. So I knew that he knew what he was doing. And here's the great thing about copy, for those of you who have never thought of it, never considered it, even if you have, great copy is so good that you don't even realize what the person is doing until after you made the purchase. And this is the exact thing that happened to me. This person, this guest who was on this podcast, his copy, the words that he was saying, mind you, I'm not reading what he's saying, I'm listening to a podcast. The words that he was saying were compelling enough to get me to go to his website, look him up, and purchase his product. And I didn't even realize, you know what? It was his copy that made that purchase until after I read the whole book and thought about it and said, nah, it was okay. It was all right. And then I said, you know what? This guy's a professional copywriter. He knew exactly what he was doing. And I'm not telling you that as like a cautionist story. What do they call it? A cautionary tale. I'm not telling you that as a cautionary tale to keep you from buying something from somebody you hear on a podcast. That wouldn't make sense, would it? I'm telling you that to communicate to you that when someone is really good with their words, when they're really good with their communication, they can make things happen even though their production value or the quality of whatever they're trying to move or whatever it is they're going to do, their delivery, it may not be as great as it sounds, but when someone's great at communication, they can make you feel like it is and get you to take the necessary action before you even get to find out that, it's okay. Now, somebody who has great copy could be amazing too. Now, I think I have amazing products and services and I have good copy. This guy might be better at copy than me. I don't know. I don't know how we can measure that. But it doesn't mean that everybody's just going to be okay like I thought this guy's book was. If the book had been amazing, I would still be telling you the story. So that copy can be written or spoken. Your communication can be written or spoken. You're going to actually have to do both. Any of you ever sent a text message? Now, I know in a text message, you're probably not trying to sell anything, but you ever written an email or read a really good email, written a book, plan on writing a book, filled out a job application, plan on filling out one, write a business plan for a business. You ever wrote a job listing because you're looking to hire somebody? You ever responded to a job listing because you're looking to get hired? All of these are copy. If you're on a dating website and you get that little box that says write about yourself, and you can say whatever you want, all of that is copy. How you talk about yourself is copy. What you say to other people when you're communicating with them, all of that is copy. So you need to really think about, or we could just say it's communication. If you're selling something, then we will call it copy. If you're just talking to that person, maybe you're trying to get a date, maybe you're just trying to make a friend, all of that is communication. That's the word that I would rather use there if we're not talking about sales. But you understand what I'm saying so far here. This guy who's a professional at it, putting words together, he's good at moving people to action. And that's what I think all of us want to do when we're communicating with someone. We're trying to move them to action. Point number 2. Today's topic is invest in your communication skills. When you're trying to get to the front of a really long line, in other words, you're trying to stand out anywhere where competition is thick, you must learn how to make yourself stand out through your words, because you might not get a chance to stand out through your actions until you've sold yourself to even getting an opportunity. Like, you got to sell yourself just to get a chance, right? When I was trying to play ball, I knew that I could play at a certain level, or at least I believed that I could. But the thing is, there were hundreds, thousands of other players who also thought they could play at a high level. There are a lot of players out there who thought they could play professional or play overseas or do this or do that. So how I was able to get myself to at least somewhere near the front of that line to where I can get a contract and start a career was I was able to go out and get an agent to pay attention to me. The way I got an agent to pay attention to me is that I went and found every agent who was listed online, at least at that time, and I would either call them or email them, and I would sell myself to them. That was my communication skill. I sold myself. Actually, I didn't even sell myself to, I didn't go straight from, hey, this is who I am and this is what I can do. Will you represent me and give me a contract? I didn't even do that. I added an extra step. The first step was, look, this is who I am. This is what I can do. Here's the proof of what I can do. I had some video. I had a scouting report. Let me send you that. Then I let them see that. Then the next step was, all right, are you interested in representing me so we can make something happen? I get paid. You get paid. Everybody's happy in the end. That was the process. It was my ability to sell myself that got me to the front of that line. It wasn't necessarily because I was just this amazing player that was so much better than everyone else. There were plenty of players out there who may have had a similar resume to mine, maybe even a more impressive resume, maybe could put up better stats than me, but I was able to sell myself better than they were. And they may never have even gotten their opportunity, not because they couldn't play, but because they didn't have the ability to communicate. So you have to learn how to make yourself stand out with words just so you can get the chance to stand out with your actions, with your performance. Almost all of us who's ever been in a situation, maybe you're in a situation right now where you know deep in your heart and your soul that you can perform at a certain level, that you would help somebody if they would just sign on and become your client, or you could help someone if they would just buy your product, or you know your book would change somebody's lives if they would just go on Amazon or go to your website and purchase it, or you know you could really help this player if they would just sign up for your training sessions, or you know you could fill in the blank with whoever person if they would just whatever action it is you need them to take before you can actually perform your actions. Understand that you will not get a chance to perform your actions if you are not strong enough in communication to sell that person on giving you the chance to perform your actions. That's the extra step. As I just explained, when I was trying to get an agent, it wasn't just, hey, I can dunk, I can run, I can shoot, sign me and represent me. Well, there are a lot of players who could have said that. This agent would have had 1,000 clients. Wouldn't have been able to get them all signed. It was my ability to get that agent's attention when I'm sure I wasn't the only person calling his phone, the only person sending him emails. That is what got him to pay attention to me. Then he was invested in me, and then he was able to make something happen and everybody won. So the question for you is, can you sell yourself with your words? I mean, that's the only way you can sell yourself, right? Well, no, you can sell yourself through your actions, but if people haven't seen your actions yet, and they're not interested in seeing your actions, not because they don't think you're good, but because there are too many people trying to do that, can you get yourself to the front of the line through your communication in order to get a chance to show your actions? Communication skills, ladies and gentlemen, it gets people's attention. And once you get people's attention, then you can follow up with your skills. For example, any of you who works online in any type of online marketing, You've heard of search engine optimization, or SEO. What's the purpose of SEO? Is to use certain words and certain combinations to target certain people in order to get your skill, whatever it is, your website, your product, your service, your blog, your podcast, your videos, whatever, to get it seen by people. You may think that you have the best blog in the world, or the best book in the world, or the best product in the world. But if nobody knows about the product, the challenge is not that the product is not good. The challenge is nobody knows about it. And the reason that's the challenge is because your communication of why that product matters, why it will be valuable to somebody else, why they should stop what they're doing and pay attention to you, you haven't gotten good at that yet. That's the challenge. That's the thing that you need to resolve. Once you resolve that, then things will start working in your favor. But you got to get good at getting people to pay attention to you, which they only do for a short period of time. We know people's attention spans are down to like the level of a goldfish these days. Can you get people's attention quickly through your words and then follow it up with the actions, doing whatever it is that you do that you believe makes you good? Point number 3. Today's topic is be sure to invest in your communication skills. Let me give you one actionable tip that will help you get better at communication really quickly. And I'm talking about get better at using your words, whether it's speaking out loud or writing, is you must read. Reading is a really important skill, and it's a tool as well that will help you get better at your own communication. And let me tell you how. You see, when you read a book or a blog post, at least a well-written one, somebody organized those words already, especially a book, a well put together book, one that looks like it was well put together. Somebody already took the time and effort and energy in order to put those words together in the way that they felt made the most sense. Now, not everyone puts words together the exact same way. There's no one way to write or one way to speak. I think you already understand that. But if they took their time and edited things and rearranged and moved stuff around, my latest book, Work on Your Game, for example, we spent a whole lot of time just editing the book. The actual content, the actual material for the book was written in a very short period of time, but it wasn't until about a year and a half after all the writing was done that the book actually came out. One reason is because with major publishing companies, they just take a long ass time to put stuff out. The other half of the reason was that it wasn't even, actually I'll say the other 70% of the reason is because we spent a whole lot of time editing. In other words, rearranging words, changing the way things were being said in order for it to flow as well as it possibly could. At least in our best judgment, to flow as well as it possibly could. So when you read a book, a well-written book, or a well-written blog, or a well-written sales page, if you ever bought anything online, go back to that website where you bought something and reread what that person wrote and really think about how they put those words together that compelled you to action. Even better, read it out loud. If you want to get better at speaking, one thing that I recommend you do is read out loud every single day from something that you like. Any book that you like, any blog post you like, someone wrote you an email, you like it. If you wrote something and you liked it, you wrote an email and you think you worded everything perfectly, or you have a website and you think you said things perfectly on this particular page or this post, read it out loud to yourself. Read it exactly as it was written and do something like that every single day. Find something that you like and read it out loud. Don't add anything, don't remove anything, because you're going to start thinking and speaking over time. You'll begin to think and speak just like the stuff that you read and listen to. I found that this happens to me. If I go and read, let's say, for example, someone's emails, let's say I got a couple emails from one person who emails often, and I read a few of their emails and then I go write something, some of their influence is rubbing off on me in that moment that I'm writing, because how they write is in my head because I just read it. Now I'm going to write a little bit like them. Or if I'm listening to someone, I might talk a little bit like them. I might use some of their words, let's say, for example. Some of their speech patterns will bleed into my speech simply because I'm listening to that person. So if you take in a lot of material, especially when you're taking a lot of spoken material, you're going to start talking like what you listen to. And if you're taking a lot of written material, you're going to write how the things that you read are written. So that's why, for example, people say if you listen to a certain type of music all the time, you're going to start talking like the music that you listen to. It has an influence on us. Everything influences us in some way. So if you want to get better at your communication skills, I suggest that you read on a consistent basis, but read out loud. Because when you read out loud, now you're not just doing it through your eyes, you're using your mouth and actually saying the things in addition to looking at them with your eyes. Now you've made two investments with your eyes and with your mouth. Now it's going to have a deeper it'll create a deeper groove, let's say, in your memory and your communication memory, because you employed 2 of your senses in paying attention to it, and you're hearing it as well. So we can even say 3. Don't add or remove anything. You're going to start thinking and speaking like what you read and listen to. And this is coming up soon. I got something that I'm working on when it comes to communication skills. So just stay tuned for that. But until then, I suggest you get the Leadership Bundle, which are my 3 books on communication, building rapport, and leadership, which you can get at workonmygame.com/LB, which stands for Leadership Bundle. That's workonmygame.com/LB for Leadership Bundle. Those are all about communication. You got 55 daily people skills, 25 conversation starters, and 25 reasons to quit worrying, all in one bundle. All 3 of those books. You can get a digital, physical, if you prefer audio, the audio as well. Let's recap today's topic, which is invest in your communication skills. If you want to get on the sports team, you want to get a job, you want to get somebody to do something for you, you want to build a relationship with another person, you want to get booked for a certain situation where there's a whole lot of people trying, you want to sell anything. All of these happen via your ability to communicate via your spoken or written word before you get a chance to actually prove that you're good. Number 1, I heard a guy on a podcast interview. He caught my attention because I liked the style, I liked the way he was talking. He mentioned that he had a book. I went and bought his book. I read his book. The book was not amazing. The book was pretty good. And I thought about why it was that I was moved to buy that book, even though the book wasn't that great. And this is because this guy's a professional copywriter. His very job is to put words together in such a way that moves people to buy his stuff. That's a great job to have if you want to sell things online, is to learn how to copy, learn how to write copy. I don't know if you had to be a full-time copywriter like this guy, but you could at least learn some skills about how to do it. If you ever purchase something online, go look back at that website where you bought from. I guarantee there was some compelling copy in there that moved you to action. May not move everybody to action, but it worked on you. Point number 2, when you're trying to get to the front of a long line, in other words, anything where competition is thick, you must learn how to make yourself stand out through your words. So in other words, can you sell yourself? Communication will get people's attention. Then you follow it up with the skills, the actual performance, because you may not even get a chance to perform if you cannot sell. This is something I've talked about, especially with athletes, because a lot of athletes out there say, you know, Dre, I think I'm good enough to play this sport and be on the team or get more playing time. But the problem is they never get the chance. I don't get the chance to do it. Well, you might need to get better at selling yourself. You might need to get better at your communication skill. Maybe need to find a new team to get on. You're going to have to sell yourself to get on that. If you think you're really good at what you do, yet you're not getting the opportunities that you feel you would flourish in, the way you need to get better at is creating those opportunities. And you do that through your communication, not by just running up and doing the thing, because you may not always get a chance to just do it. You got to get better at selling, or partner up with somebody who is good at it. And point number 3, actionable tip that I'm going to give you from this is you got to read. Somebody organized the words already of something that is well written. So find one of your favorite books and just read it out loud for 15 minutes every single day. Read it exactly as it's written. Don't add or remove anything. You're going to start thinking and speaking like what you read and listen to on a consistent basis. So if you don't like the way you speak right now, then start reading books out loud or books that you like. If you don't like the way that you write right now, you don't like your writing skills, start reading people who do write. And then as soon as you finish reading their stuff, you go write something. And I guarantee some of their influence is going to rub off on you. Eventually, you will get better at it. I mean, there's no shortcut to the discipline of showing up every single day to do the work. But as you keep working on your communication skill, one of the best way to get good at it is to take in material from someone who has already got good at their communication skills. And you know that they're good at it because you like listening to them, or you like reading them, or you like watching them. Learn from that person and then go and do something yourself. Don't just consume like we talked about yesterday. Also produce. And I got something on communication that is coming soon. Until then, before then, make sure you have gotten and read the Leadership Bundle, my 3 books on rapport building, leadership, and communication. Get that at workonmygame.com/LB for Leadership Bundle. Work on your game. Dre all day.